How long until the Indian variant overtakes the Kent variant as the dominant strain now here in the UK?
Well, if you look at some of the genomics data released over the last couple of days from the Sanger Institute, it's pretty clear that it's already becoming the dominant variant in some parts of England. And we also suspect that we've got pretty high numbers of cases, although we need to do the sequencing, in Glasgow, in Scotland. So if it is more transmissible, as was the case with B117, the variant that originated in Kent, then of course it will become the dominant strain. But we actually don't know how much more transmissible it is, and we need more data to be able to identify that.
All right, so more transmissible, not too sure just how much, but there's no evidence it's more deadly?
No, so these variants of concern are classified as VOCs on the basis of one of three things: transmissibility, disease severity, or evading vaccines. And there isn't any evidence to suggest that it results in greater disease severity at the moment. The other thing, of course, in terms of disease severity is that people who are becoming infected with this variant in the main at the moment, obviously, as you were saying in your report there, are younger. And so they're highly unlikely to become seriously unwell. But we don't want anyone to be getting this infection at the moment because of long COVID, etc. So we need to watch and wait. And I think the risky thing at the moment is, the last thing we needed was another variant at the time when we were trying to open up gradually and move forwards instead of backwards.
Younger people less affected by it, but of course a lot of older people still yet to be vaccinated. Does it undermine the vaccine rollout?
Well, in a perfect world, I would have wished, as in the case of Israel, for example, that when they opened up, they had many more people with both doses, and that's the issue in the UK. So we still have people like myself, just over the age of 50. I mean, I'm not terribly vulnerable, but I'm in those top 9 priority groups, and others older than me and those with underlying health conditions who might not have had, for example, their second dose and 2 weeks post. So we need more of those people. At the population level, just over a third of the UK population has had a second dose. So there's quite some way to go there.
Will this encourage those who are eligible to have a dose and are not taking up the offer to now have the vaccine?
I think, yes. I think it's another indicator of how urgent it is. I mean, let's be clear, Bill, we have had a phenomenal response for people coming forward for vaccines. But two things. We know that younger people, often for practical reasons, may be less likely to take it up or want to change an appointment, not get round to it, etc. And then also we have seen a slightly lower uptake in the second dose for those that are eligible. So we just need to get as many jags into as many arms as possible, as soon as possible.
We are seeing quite a surge in pockets throughout England of this new, well, I shouldn't say new variant, but of this, this variant. Scotland already has some regions in different tiers. Do you think England should do the same?
Well, I mean, I always hesitate to make the policy recommendations, but I think it's almost inevitable that that's what's going to happen. And just, I mean, we've got some really quite stark figures today from Scotland, Bill. In Glasgow, cases are now over 100 per 100,000, and 2 neighbouring areas, East Renfrewshire and South Lanarkshire, are really inching up there. So Scottish Government's also thinking about, Glasgow's not moved ahead into what we call level 2. Could that also be the case in those areas? Might they have to step back? I'm really hoping not, because hospital numbers are really low in Scotland as elsewhere, and let's hope that continues to be the case.
And just a final thought now, ending all restrictions in June, is that still realistic, or is it right that the government should still be putting this on the cards now, bearing in mind what's happening with the spread of the new variant?
Well, I understand the pressures, but the government has said data, not dates, and then we had lots of dates. So I think let's really be following the data, understanding what's happening before committing to that, which is not far in the future. So we'll really need to wait and see what's decided.
And are you confident that we're not going to be talking about this possibly by autumn, that this virus will be possibly a thing of the past and not affecting our lives? Linda, what are your long-term prospects on this?
So I think we'll be living alongside it. I was actually more concerned about the winter with a waning of protection of vaccines and us having another surge. So I'm hoping that we won't see a third wave now. But I'm much more optimistic about the longer terms. We're going to need to reinvest in vaccination, I think, in the future to give a longer term protection. But hopefully we can get out of this in the next few months.